Get the fuck out!
Lego and Helluva Boss is never gonna happen. But let's imagine a world where that can, nay, does happen. And with Hazbin Hotel's official release on the horizon, and should actually be out on the day I release this, to commemorate the occasion and my love for the series, I thought I'd turn IMP headquarters into a Lego set. But first, I'll be going over what figures the set would most likely have at the end, and while I won't actually be making the figures as they'd require so many new specialized molds, I more want to take the segment to figure out the scale of the characters, that way I know how to scale the building. And as you can see of the height chart I have up on screen,
I know it's kind of hard to see because this video only has 1 pixel that's stretched across the entire screen.
It looked a lot easier said than done, but it actually turned out to be pretty straightforward. I started off with my very first idea on how I would scale them. Moxie and Millie would have short legs, Blitzer would have mid legs, and characters like Luna, Octavia, and Veroska would have normal legs. And it actually scaled out pretty well. The building seems to be scaled around heights like Luna and Veroska's, so all I really needed to do was just make the building main figure scale. And that's for characters like Stolas, because of course I'd want him to be in the set, because semi-recently, Jesus Christ, that was over a year ago, but anyway, semi-recently, Lego brought back the 3 long legs with Avatar. And while maybe not perfect, it's about as good as you're gonna get. And let's be fully honest, who is really expecting a Lego set to be one-to-one perfectly accurate?
I have arrived.
But with all that out of the way, we can finally get into... As you can see, I decided to go the modular building approach, partially because one of the things that actually inspired me to take this on was actually my love for the Daily Bugle set, which is also a monotone skyscraper. Although a building like this is a lot harder to make look interesting. I originally wanted to either inset the windows or have the walls be a little bit thicker using snot plates, but it just didn't seem feasible for what I was trying to go for and would have just really overcomplicated everything. So instead I decided to just add greebling using gray bricks. I think it does a great job of breaking up the build while still making it look like it does in the show. I will say it looks a lot more squat than I was hoping for. I was kind of hoping to maybe add a floor or 2 more, but as you'll see, I kind of struggled to fit in the floors I already have. Also, I'd like to say that this build is using the old Trans Black, aka Trans Brown. Unfortunately, Mechabricks doesn't have it, but I would actually want to use the new, much more opaque Trans Black. Here's a little mock-up of what that would look like because it makes it look a lot better. Starting with the base, I decided to use the 4x4 tiles for the sidewalk, as it matches the show and fits perfectly on the 32 base plate. And I used all the cracks in the sidewalks as a way to add studs to post figures. And I was actually able to add a little bit of depth with the stone base of the building. And for the front door, I know it's not the most accurate, but it's honestly the best I could do. For the sides, I had to get a little creative to add the connector pins. One side I just used boxes, and the other I actually decided to use the phone poles from Spring Broken. Yeah, it's not what they actually are in the show, but that's another thing from the show, and as you'll see, creative liberties is gonna be a theme throughout this video. They should also probably be taller and sticking outwards, but any taller than this and they would probably become unstable, and obviously if they stuck out you wouldn't even be able to connect it to anything. Speaking of stability, I racked my brain on how to make them stable, but I managed to make good use of snot bricks and clear bars. And to the back is where I decided to place the portal of the set. It uses the same build as Doctor Strange's portal because don't fix what ain't broke. I have it here to represent the portal scene from episode 1, but you can actually move it for something I'll show later. Also, I know some people are probably gonna say that the portal should actually be a bluish purple, but the show has actually pretty consistently shown that it varies depending on who's actually summoning the portal, being a violetish red for IMP. And HB is consistently inconsistent, so if they're consistent about something, especially their inconsistencies, then that's not an inconsistency, that's world building.
Wait, what did he just say?
Now if you could just be consistent on how you summon the damn things! Next up are the walls of the next 2 floors, but there really isn't much to talk about that I haven't already shown. And anything of note I'll talk about when I get to the interior. Next up is the top floor, which is more the same, but this time with the horns. I thought these would be really difficult, and were at first, but they actually turned out to be not that complicated because I used this weird looking brick to do all the hard work for me. That's all it's attached by, and after I had that, I just added some basic framing. Even getting the pieces to fit the angle. I'm surprised how good it looks for how simple it is. Also 2 things. 1, I know it's missing a stripe just before the angle. Each of the 4 panel pieces would just have a white stripe printed around the top of it to show it, but I don't know how to import prints onto Mechabricks. Also, this area is supposed to be the new piece that was introduced to Concord, but once again, not in Mecha. And finally, we have the roof. While I'm mainly basing it off its latest appearance in X's and O's, I also wanted to take some elements from its only other appearance in the pilot as it allowed for more detail. Yes, I was working on this before it was officially decanonized, but even before then, it was pretty widely agreed that the pilot was tangentially canon at best. So I still feel like it wouldn't be that unrealistic for it to be included, but if you really just wanted to stick to canon, all you have to do is just take off the innermost horns and all the satellites. Anyway, as for the roof itself, it's really simple. What you see is what you get. Even inside, it's just Technic support because I honest to God had no idea what I'd even put in there. But that's it for the exterior. Now we can actually get into the interior, which will actually be quite easy because not only did I add detachable walls, but I also made it kind of modular. Starting with the base floor, not totally sure what to do, I decided to base it off the hallway scene from Spring Broken. And yes, this did require taking some creative liberties. Although with that said, I think it actually ended up coming out quite well. Plus, it's probably the worst of creative liberties I'm gonna get throughout this entire video. Starting with the main hallway itself, there isn't really much to talk about because it's just a hallway. All the doors on the walls, while being able to be opened, are purely decorational. For the Psyche side, the sucky side. On the succubi side, I tried to make sure I got as many of the LED lights as possible, but I really couldn't think of a good way to get them going up the sides of the door or window. Although I am very proud of how the heart decal above the door came out. And on the doors, I would want them to have stickers or prints to show the windows and lettering. Inside, I basically just replicated what you can see from the show. The equipment, the booze, the coffee, the boxes, you get it, use your eyes. Also, something that ended up working out quite well, and one of the reasons I even decided to make the bottom floor this hallway, the door on the outside of the building that's supposed to be the one outside the parking lot, actually ended up working out really well as the door you can see inside Veroska's room. And that's pretty much it for the first floor. The second floor, I decided to make the waiting room. To the right, you get the reception desk. On it are the computer, Luna's little dog-boned phone thing, a 2x2 meant to represent that emergency board thing from episode 1, and the alcohol that Luna accidentally summoned the portal with. There's only one chair, but I included a box so both Moxie and Millie can fit behind there. To the left, you see the couch from episode 1, and above it are pictures they were using for target practice and an arrow in the wall. Kinda surprised how simple they are for how well they came out. And to the back, we have the eels from Murder Family, which you can also see in Unhappy Campers. This was probably the hardest thing to build in this room, if not right behind the main desk. I was really kinda just working with what I had. And while I couldn't fit as many details as compared to other builds in this set, I'm still quite happy with how it came out. And that's basically it for the weight room.
But I'm not done yet!
Because if you take the eel tank and attach it to the studs on the wall that I use for detail, then all you do is add these and boom, you got the scene from episode 1. And as I was alluding to earlier, because you can move around the portal, you can move it anywhere in IMP to recreate a scene. And next up is the IMP office. Not this I really designed to be easily removable, but I decided to actually group them, that way I could actually take them out to make it easier to show you. First, you got a very simple build for the TV shown in the pilot and cherubs. For the main board, it took some trial and error to get the design down, but I'm quite happy with how it turned out. In front of it is the nonsense, which is probably one of the only things I designed to be easily removable. A build which I took 1-to-1 from the Starry Night set. Not really much to talk about with the main table, so I'll get right to the chairs. At first, I was just straight up unsure if I was going to be able to do these well, if at all. But through smart use of pieces, I actually think they came out really well. I think my favorite technique is using the binoculars for the arms of the chair. As for the room itself, the little whatever they are in the pillars were probably the second hardest thing behind the chairs. The shield piece would obviously be printed, but even outside of that, they aren't perfect and I did the best I could. Absolutely nothing behind the board, and to the left is a bulletin board and a frame. I based it off the pilot, but it is there in future episodes, and while there should be a cabinet with it, there is absolutely no room for it. But that's it for the IMP meeting room. And finally, we have Blitzo's office. And to get the obvious out of the way, there was no way I was going to be able to make the office fit the entire floor. It would have been way too big. And with absolutely no idea what else I could put in there, I just added another hallway. If you have any better ideas, please let me know. Also, where the last picture is on the wall to the right, because I couldn't put the door where it should go for ease of viewing, I was actually considering putting it there. I was originally going to ask your guys' opinion on it, but the more I think about it, the more I actually prefer that. However, I am too tired to go back and change it, and honestly, if I re-record this for a third time, my PC will probably give out. Anyway, as for the room itself, same deal with the meeting room. The chair was surprisingly not that hard to make, and I'm actually quite proud of how it came out. The table is actually nearly identical to the table in the weight room. On one side are some papers and his boss bitch mug, and on the other is his lamp and #1 boss photo. It took some trial and error, but I am actually shocked how well the lamp turned out with how simple the build is. To the right, you just have a bunch of frames, a bookshelf, and a lamp. And to the left, you got the window, another portrait, and his lemon tree. And at the very back, you have the IMP portrait. It is not an easy shape to capture, and I ultimately just ended up deciding on going for less is more. Any of the missing detail would just be shown on whatever print would be on it. I made sure to make it turn like it does in the show, to reveal the safe that Blitzo keeps the grimoire. And finally, if you remove the chair, you can put the portal there to recreate the scene from Seeing Stars. And that is not only it for Blitz's office, but the entire building.
But I'm not done yet!
I decided to just go for a simple but effective blocky van. Although more recent episodes have shown the van to be incredibly dented, I don't even want to fathom how I could possibly build that. Although the same episode does show it completely fine 3 seconds later, so I think I'm good. I did want to at least get the dents on the front of the car, so I made some good use of flag elements. I managed to get the sliding doors in, and I'm probably gonna sound like a broken record, but the build was actually pretty simple yet effective. You're also able to take off the entire roof to get access to the interior. It's pretty simple, but has more than enough space to fit the figures. Unfortunately, it breaks up the lines, but you can probably just solve that with a sticker or print. There was also maybe a way I could have closed up the gap a bit more, but then the solution of a decal wouldn't have even been an option, so I had to compromise. But that is it for not only the IMP van, but the set as a whole.
I'm done!
Here I have for you set 8008132, IMP headquarters. The set would come with Blitzo, Moxie, Millie, Luna, Stolas, Octavia, Veroska, Vortex, Miss Mayberry, and 1 or 2 succubi. With over 4,107 pieces, it would most likely retail for around $300. That is the absolute lowest I could see them pricing it, and also the absolute highest I could see HB fans paying.
Are you challenging me?
Here's it compared to some other modulars, specifically the only ones I have, which also allows me to say that it's about 15 inches wide at the horns and 2 feet tall. As well as compared to... what?